Chapter 13, Generation of Abraham. Begin all acts and thinking by using El Kalundi All. Tablet 4, Melchizedek blessed Abraham and Lot. 19 times 2 equals 38. Lo, and the ruler of Sodom went out to meet Abram after his return from the slaughter over the Persian Kedalama, and of the rulers that were with him, at the valley of Shava, Equalizer, in Palestine, which is the ruler's valley, and Melchizedek ruler of Salam, a city of peace and risk, the 8th planet in the 19th galaxy, Ilion. This Melchizedek brought forth bread and wine, and he is the Kohen priest of Eli and Elionel the Most High. And Melchizedek blessed Abram, and said, Blessed be Abram, by way of Eli and Elionel the Most High, the Highest, creator of the skies and the planet Earth. And blessed be Eli and Elionel, who has delivered your enemies into your hands. And he gave Melchizedek 1/10 of all he owned in gold. Thus is the practice of this day, of 1/10% of your earnings going to tzedakah, charity. And the ruler of Sodom said unto Abram, Give unto me the spirits, my people, and take the material things for yourself. And Abraham said to the ruler of Sodom, I have raised up my hands unto Eli and Elionel, the creator of the skies and the planet Earth, that I will not take a thread, nor a shoe latch, nor anything that is yours, all you would say. I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, the portion of the Enoshites that went with me, Anna, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion. Abram receives a covenant. After the Elo did these things, the sayings of Yahuwah came to Abram in his vision. Yahuwah made himself heard, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your shield, your reward is exceedingly great. And Abram said, O Adonai, master of man, Yahuwah, what can you give to me, while I am departing to death, childless, and the son of possession of my house is Eliezer, El is my help. And Abram said, Here, to me you have given no seed, and here, the son in my house is about to take possession of all I own. And behold, the word of Yahuwah to him, saying, This one will not take possession of all you own, but he that will come forth out of your own body will take possession of all you own. And he brought him outside and said, Look now towards the heavenly skies, and count the stars, if you are able to count them. And he said to him, Thus will be your seed. And he, Abram, had faith in Adonai Yahuwah, and because of this, counted him as a Zodokite trusted. And he said to him, I am Yahuwah that brought you out of that part of the planet Earth of Ur, the flame, and the center of moon worship in southern Babylon of the Chaldees, demons, to give you this part of the planet Earth, to take possession of it. And he said, O Adonai, master of man Yahuwah, how will I know that I will take possession of it? And he, Adonai, said to him, Abram, Take for me a heifer 3 years old, and a she-goat 3 years old, and a ram 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he, Abram, took him, Adonai, all Elo's things, and cut them in 2 parts in the middle, and laid each half over against each other, but the birds he did not cut in 2 parts. And the birds of prey as swooper came down upon the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And when the sun was about to go in, Abram was in a deep sleep, and a Nephilim of terror overcame him with great darkness. And Yahuwah said to Abram, Know this for a fact, your blood seed will be sojourners in a part of the planet Earth that is not their own, and they will be slaves there to Amorites, and the Amorites will abuse them and persecute them for 400 years, and the Gentile nation of Amorites whom they are enslaved to. I, El Yahuwah of the Elohim Anunnaki, will judge, and after that they will come out of bondage with great wealth. And he said also, You will go to your fathers in peace. You will have your buried tomb in an old age. His tomb is in Hebron today. But in the 400th year of your children's slavery, they will return because of the guilt of the Amorites is not yet complete. And in time, that is when the sun was about gone to the sight, into a pit and dense darkness have come to be, and behold an oven of smoke, and a torch of fire which passed by between these pieces. Yahuwah's covenant with Abram. In that day, Yahuwah made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your seed will I give this part of the planet Earth, from the river of the Nile to the great river Euphrates, Western Asia. The Kenites, those who acquire, are branches of Midianites of Aqaba, today located in Arabia, and the Kenizzite, who use spears, a cursed tribe of Canaan, and the Cadmonite, whose tribes from the east, and the Hittite, those Canaanite tribes who terrorize other tribes, sons of Heth, those of fear, and the Perizzite, those who broke from the other tribes of Canaan, and the Rephaim, race of giant healers, and the Amorites, mountain dwellers, and the Canaanites, lowlanders, and the Girgashites, rough ones, and the Jebusite, trodden down." Tablet 5. Hagar and Ishmael. 19 times 4 equals 76. Lo, and now Sarah, princess, Abram's wife, could not give birth for him, and she had a female servant of Egypt, whose name is Hagar, meaning wanderer rock. And then Sarah said to Abram, "Behold now, Yahuwah has obstructed me from bearing. So go have sexual intercourse, I beg you, Abram, with my slave girl. Perhaps I will obtain children by way of her." And Abram agreed to the voice of Sarah. And then Sarah, Abram's confident wife, took Hagar the Egyptian as her slave girl, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the part of the planet Earth of Canaan. And she, Sarah, gave her to Abram her husband to be his wife. And then he entered Hagar, having sexual intercourse with her, and she became pregnant. And when she saw that she had become pregnant, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And then Sarah said to Abram, "My injustice is your fault. I gave my slave girl into your bosom, and when she saw with her physical eyes that she had become pregnant, I became despised in her eyes. Yahuwah judge between you and me." But Abram said to Sarah, "Here, your female slave is in your hand. Do to her that which is agreeable in your eyes." And Sarah put her down, and Hagar ran away from her face. And then the messenger of Yahuwah found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to the wall Shur, back to Tamaray, which is Egypt. And he said to Hagar, Sarah's slave girl, "Where did you come from and where are you going?" And she said, "I am fleeing from the face of my mistress Sarah." And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, "Return to your mistress and allow yourself to be put down under her hands." And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, "I will greatly multiply your seed, so that it will be in abundance, so that it will not be able to be numbered." And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, "Behold, you are pregnant, and will give birth to a son, and you will call his name Ishmael," meaning El will hear, because Yahuwah has heard your affliction. And he will become as a wild ass amongst the Edomites. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him, and he will live right in the face of all his brothers. And she, Hagar, called the name of Yahuwah, the one who spoke to her, El Roi, the El of the sun, Ra of Egypt, who sees with the physical eye. Therefore everybody called the well Belaheroi, meaning well of the living one Ra, who saw me. It is here between Gadash the holy place and Bered the place of hail. And then Hagar gave birth to Abram's son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar gave birth to, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar gave birth to Ishmael for Abram. The covenant of circumcision. And when Abram was 99 years old, Yahuwah made himself seen physically for Abram and said to him, "I am El Shadi, the Almighty Metatron. Walk in front of my face and be complete. Have your whole family together. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and it will multiply you exceedingly." And Abram fell down on his face. He prostrated with his face on the ground, and the Elohim spoke with him, saying, "As for me, one of the Elohim here, my covenant is with you alone, and you will be the father of the nation of Gentiles. Neither will you not be called by your name Abram, your name will be called Abraham, because you are a father of many nations of Gentiles. I have appointed you, and I will make you branch off exceedingly, and I will make nations of Gentiles of you, and rulers will come out of you. I will raise up my covenant between your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant to be an Elohim, you and your seed after you. And I will give you, and to your seed after you, this part of the planet Earth, wherein you are a stranger, all the planet Earth that is Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their Elohim." And the Elohim said to Abram, "You will keep my Berith, covenant, Therefore you and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant, which you will keep. Between me and you and your seed after you, every male among you will be circumcised, and you will be cut with a straight knife in the skin of your foreskin, and it will be a mark of covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old will be cut with a straight knife among you. Every male throughout your genealogies, he that is born in the house, or bought with the money of any stranger, that is not of your seed. Any human being who comes under Abraham's covenant, any race, even a Canaanite, he that is born in your house, and also he that is bought with your money must be circumcised, and my covenant will be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And as for the uncircumcised male, being as Cadmon, whose skin of his foreskin is not done by a male circumciser, that one spirit will be cut off from his nation of people. He has broken my covenant. And the Elohim said to Abram, As for Sarah your confident wife, you will not call her name Sarah, but Sarah, a noble woman will be her name. For it was very noble of her to give you another woman in her place, when she feared she could not conceive. And I will bless her, and moreover I will give you a son of her. Yes, I will bless her, and there will become from her a Gentile nation of people. Then Abram fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart to himself, Will a son be born to him when he is 100 years old? And will Sarah, a daughter of 90 years old, bear? And Abram said to the Elohim Anunnaki, Oh, I wish that Ishmael might live in front of your face. And the Elohim said, Indeed, Sarah, your confident wife, will bear you a son. And you will call his name Yitzhak, meaning he laughed, called in tone Yitzhak, and in rhythm Ishak. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you, Abram. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him branch off, and I will multiply him exceedingly. 12 chiefs will he give birth to. And I will appoint him a great nation of Gentiles, and my covenant will I establish with Yitzhak, whom Sarah will bear to you at this season in the next year. And the Elohim finished talking with him, and the Elohim went back up into the skies, departing from Abram. And Abram took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male amongst the Enoshites of Abram's house. And he circumcised the skin of their foreskin in the very same day, as the Elohim had said to him. And Abram was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the skin of his foreskin. And Ishmael, Abram's son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the skin of his foreskin, and he received his bar mitzvah. And this is how this event was commemorated in the school of Mohammedism. In the religion of Abram, a boy is considered a boy up until the age of 13 and a day, and a girl when she first menstruates, the turning point in a young child's life, and the age of maturity. In times past, during the child's childhood years, the father was obliged to support him or her, providing for their education and affording them the means of mastering a professional trade. However, at age 13, the boy, or the girl when she menstruates, assumes religious duties and is responsible for fulfilling their religious obligations and expectations. One change is symbolized by the boy putting on the shawl and tefillin, and by him being counted as eligible to lead worship. The shawl has 2 sets of 3 thin black or blue lines at each end. These 12 lines on the shawl represent the 12 tribes of Ishmael. The shawl also has 6 tassels on each end. The 12 tassels stand for the 12 tribes of Israel. The boy will usually receive a shawl from his father as yet another sign of his manhood. It is a great day in the life of a boy when he is introduced to his obligations as an adult and a full member of his community. The boy is called upon to give his public sermon in the house of the Sustainer on Friday following his birthday. A boy is not allowed to deliver a sermon or head congregational worship prior to his 13th birthday. After the sermon, he may be requested to lead afternoon worship and worship at shadow hour, however, not evening worship. The Son of the Commandment ceremony is held in the house of the Sustainer on Sabbath during the early daylight worship. He will put on his shawl for the first time and will put on his shawl from then on for every daylight worship. Once the worship is over, the boy is honored by being called in front of the congregation to recite passages from the Torah for the first time. Before the ceremony, the call to prayer is sounded out, after which the quote from the Proverbs, the 20th degree, the 6th verse, is read out loud. The acting imam then leads the afternoon prayer. Kalimat al-Haq is recited out loud by the imam, reverend or rabbi, after which the congregation repeats. Next, The bar mitzvah boy has a duty as a full adult member of the tabernacle to recite different scriptural books to show his maturity in having mastered books from the scriptures. The recitation of the 13 verses, reading from the 6th degree of the Quran, called Surah al-Mumtahana, and the first 13 verses of degree 20 and 8 of Isaiah. Then, Surah al-Asr, chapter of the reading, also the 13th degree of the Quran. The father will then recite a prayer, benediction that relieves him from the obligation of his son. Afterward he gives his son a walking staff, shober and scriptures. After he concludes, the father steps forwards and exclaims, "Blessed is he who releases me from the responsibility of this child." Then he recites Surah al-Allah along with the congregation. At the end of the recitation, the father presents gifts and tools of manhood. On Sunday at home, the boy, the parents and acquaintances gather for an occasion of much rejoicing. The boy has now passed from the first stage of life, youth, to the second, manhood. The third stage of life is old age. In the presence of his family and friends, he will explain about our seed and who we are. If two or more boys, as in the case of twins or triplets for example, have birthdays on the same day of the week, then the one who was born first will give the sermons and celebrate his ceremony the Friday following his birthday. The second boy will have to wait the following Friday after that. If there is a case of a third boy turning 13 on the same week, then he will perform his ceremony the third Friday following his birthday. Nowadays, in the practices of the so-called Reformed Israelites, they have substituted the Bar Mitzvah ceremony, which is reserved exclusively for boys, with a confirmation service for a group of boys and girls alike, which occurs on one day out of the year. Girls should not be included in the Son of the Commandment ceremony. They have a separate Bat Mitzvah, nose-piercing ceremony. This separate nose-piercing ceremony is celebrated with the oncoming of a girl's menstrual cycle, which marks the beginning of her adolescence. In the very same day was Abraham circumcised and Ishmael his son, and all the Enoshites of his house, those born in the house, and those bought with money of the strangers, were circumcised with him. And Yahuwah appeared in person, to be seen right next to the oak trees of Mamre, as he, Abram, sat in the tabernacle door in the heat of the day. And Abram raised his eyes and saw with his eyes, and behold, 3 Anunnaki in the form of Enoshites human beings stopped and stood off afar from him. And when he saw with his eyes, he ran out to meet them from the door of the tabernacle, and prostrated himself to the earth. And Abram said, "O Adonai, my master, if I have now found favor in your eyes, don't pass by my tent. I call out to you as one of your servants. Let now a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and recline yourself under the tree, and let me bring a piece of bread, and strengthen your heart. After that you will pass on, because you have come to your servant." And they, the Anunnaki in the form of Enoshites, said, "So do as you have said." And Abram hurried into the tabernacle to Sarah and said, "Bring quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it and make cakes." And Abram ran to the herd and bought a calf, which was tender and good, and gave it to the young boy, and he hurried to prepare it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under a tree as they ate. And they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your confident wife?" And he said, "Here in the tabernacle. Sarah will conceive a son." And he said, "I will certainly return to you when the season comes around, and behold, Sarah your confident wife will have a son." And Sarah heard this through the tabernacle door which was behind him. Now Abram and Sarah were old, and well advanced in years. It had ceased to be with Sarah, after the manner of women. Menopause had set in, and Sarah laughed within herself, saying, "After I have become old will I have pleasure? My Adonai, my master of man, being old also." And Yahuwah said to Abram, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Will I really bear a child when I'm old? Is there anything that is too hard for Yahuwah? At the set time I will return to you when the season comes around, and Sarah will have a son." Then Sarah denied, saying, "I did not laugh," because she was afraid. And he said, "No, but you did laugh."